Hello everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another POV review here at Two Guys Four Wheels. Today we're about to drive the all-new Audi A6, which as you can see has substantially improved both in and outside. So let's hit the road and check the car out. As you can see, we are already on the German Autobahn, and that is exactly where this car belongs. I mean, we are doing roughly 200 kilometers per hour already, and the weather is rather miserable today. However, that is no problem for this car whatsoever. Yes, indeed, not least that is due to the superb four-wheel drive, and I probably wouldn't feel as comfortable on the Autobahn doing roughly 200 kilometers per hour while it's raining actually without it. But I mean, nonetheless, it illustrates that the Audi A6 is the perfect long-distance cruiser. From the side profile, the new A6 is quite close to its previous model. However, both in and outside, especially from the front, with the bigger grille and the new headlights, the car is actually, well, substantially updated, let's say. The car we're driving today has the 40 TDI engine, and that is a 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel engine with 204 horsepower and 400 newton meters of torque. It does 0 to 100 in 8.3 seconds and has a top speed of 250 kilometers per hour. And indeed, those numbers do not sound too impressive. But firstly, one has to bear in mind that this car really is almost a spaceship. I mean, it weighs just under 2 tons. Has a width of almost or even above 2 meters, so it is quite a big and heavy car. However, it still rides really smooth, and I mean, it's not a sports car and you do not have too much fun compared to an S6 or RS6 model, but still, I mean, again, we're doing 170 kilometers per hour, and our car isn't equipped with the four-wheel drive system, so the four-wheel steering system I mean, but it's still agile and it really makes fun on the Autobahn, and again, that is basically where it belongs. It's a perfect long-distance cruiser, has a huge trunk with 565 liters I believe, which is massive actually. I mean, the E-Class has a slightly bigger trunk, but you can fold down the rear seats pushing that button, so to say, and it increases of up to, I think it's above 1,600 liters, so really massive. I mean, you get loads of luggage space back there. And yes, that is really the segment of this car. Be it a business car for business people, or, well, be it the family car, it's perfect for that as well. I mean, you can throw your luggage back in there, have your dog next to it, kids in the back, so it's perfect for that. A downside of this car is, though, well, it's not really a downside, is it? All the driving assistance systems, like the as I just showed, like the blind spot assist, for instance. Of course, those systems make life much easier, and, well, besides the blind spot assist, I am actually a huge fan of that one. But other than that, I mean, this car has lane keeping assist, which is particularly annoying in this car, to be honest, but, well, we come to that later. Lane keeping assists, lane switching assists, well, radar system for the distance to the car in front of you and all that stuff. It is really helpful, again, for well, business people doing loads of miles in this car each day, and probably, well, makes driving a bit more relaxed for those people. However, I personally, I mean, I really enjoy driving my cars, and, well, behind that background, I think the driving assistance is a bit, well, over-engineered, if that makes sense. So, I mean, while driving, I mean, I'm trying to switch off all those systems, because, again, especially lane keeping assist is really annoying, because you get those feedback from the steering wheel as soon as you, well, get too close to the line. But you can see, I mean, I'm driving, I'm trying to switch those things off, which constantly, well, blink. And you really have to, well, focus on the street, and you still need to look down in order to touch those two big screens in the center console. And don't get me wrong, the MMI touch response is super smooth and works really well and looks quite nice as well, especially with the air conditioning system in the lower screen. However, if you really want to, well, maneuver your car at 200 miles an hour as we are doing now on the Autobahn while it's raining, and you still need to, well, look down in order to well, use the MMI touch response. Yeah, I mean, it is really a bit of trouble for people to use the MMI touch response while driving, because you will find yourself clicking twice or maybe 3 times in order to hit the right button. But yeah, I mean, you might get used to it. It's just not really my cup of tea. But again, other than that, I mean, again, it's a beautiful car. Well, speaking of the touchscreen, another thing I have to point out, and I criticized that before in our video about the Audi Q8, and you might want to check that one out. It's in our channel. We, well, filmed the Q8 a few weeks ago. The thing is that you have loads of fingerprints all over the screens, and that really freaks me out. I mean, I like my cars clean, forget about that while it's raining as it is today, but at least from the inside it should be clean. And you see all those fingerprints constantly, and I would have to clean the screens, well, after every single drive, and yeah, to be honest, don't really want to bother about that. But anyhow, let's get away from the interior and the problems. Hitting the corner here, the car is really, well, it's a nice smooth ride, it's agile, it makes fun as far as a 200 horsepower 2-ton car can make fun, if you know what I mean. Again, it's not an S6 or RS6, but it's adequate, and yeah, I mean, even with 200 horsepower, it's not that punchy, but it is enough, if you know what I mean. So, and I think that illustrates its best at some country roads. So we are trying to hit some of them now. And, well, driving the corner, I mean, 18 hours and 80 kilometers per hour. Again, there are loads of, I mean, we've got wet roads, some leaves on the road. And thanks to the 4-wheel drive system, I do feel really comfortable in here and safe, and that is important, I think. Yeah. Well, to sum it up, again, this car is great. It's super smooth, looks nice. I do have a bit of a problem with the MMI touch response in the middle, but other than that, I mean, you basically get a baby A8, so to say. It has loads of the technology you get in the A8. Looks similar from the inside, and that is a trend you can notice with competitors as well. I mean, the E-Class, for instance, is much closer to the S-Class than it is to the C-Class. It's the same with BMW, where the 5 Series is, well, oriented to the 7 Series. And yeah, well, Audi has the same approach, basically. Well, to make it short, it's quite a lot of money, but it is quite a lot of car for it as well. So, and that really is the summary of this video. Thanks for tuning in, and see you soon.